without the arrogance.
I think you want just what is supposed to be respectful competition.
Yes.
You can hate each other when you're on the field against each other. You can, have your fun, on Twitter or whatever. But the thing I've really grown to despise about the Big 12 is just how much actual hate there is. Like, there's no camaraderie. There's no having each other's backs. It's always been, and especially more and more the last few years, it's about, oh my God, what's going to happen if Texas is unhappy? Oh my God, what's going to happen if Oklahoma's unhappy? Well, now we know. They took their ball and they're going to a better opportunity, and good for them. But, man, I can't tell you just the amount of relief. I know the money figures aren't going to be as strong. I know that there's going to be things that aren't as great as they were because of the fact that you had two big brands. But I do think you are going to eliminate a lot of just the negative, just like real hatred that was in the conference, where it wasn't competitive rivalries. It was just like looking down on people. And I hated that aspect of it. And it directly came mostly from, one of those two schools, if not both at times. And, that's the part I won't miss. The other stuff, I'll miss seeing Oklahoma roll into Waco and UT Baylor and things like that, but I won't miss that part of it because you'd show up at Big 12 Media Days and you compare it to being at other media days and everybody's friendly and cordial, and like the media are still friendly and cordial in Big 12 land, but you just got this feeling of like these people don't even really like each other. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, it wasn't all for each other and go Big 12. It was like, some people were saying go Big 12, and the others are in the corner scheming up how they're going to leave it, and you could feel that.
This game?
Yeah, you could feel that, and so it was disjointed, and I'm looking forward to it being more of a group of teams that respect each other and don't look their noses down, even though I'm sure there will be some of that at times, but there was way too much of that the last few years in the Big 12.
And look, the Big 12 was, especially after the breakup when A&M and Missouri, Nebraska, Colorado, when the four teams left after those 2 years, Texas had this, because they didn't get to leave and go to another conference, they stayed. They kind of had this a little bit air of, you're lucky we kept this all thing together, and you're lucky we're here.
And it remained that way for a decade.
Yeah, and it remained that way, whether that was...
And then OU joined the arrogance.
How much of that was real and perceived. And then, look, the Baylor scandal really showed a lot of true colors in that instead of the schools going, there by the grace of God go I, it could have very well been us that this happened to, because almost everywhere is this. If we've seen anything after Baylor, is everywhere, whether it's Ohio State wrestling or Michigan State or wherever, everybody, when you peel back the curtain, is going to have something.
Yep.
The Big 12, for the most part, decided they were going to pile on Baylor and go, I can't believe that they let that happen, because they were trying to make sure that nobody said, well, if this can happen there, then why can't it happen everywhere else? They pile on Baylor, and then it made it all worse because then everybody's
Virginia
got shields up all the time.
E. Gordon Gee was the first one to actually, months later, say something positive about it. And it was like, what you said, what?
Well, one of the more interesting parts about that was, there were some who chose to just point and laugh or point and, say what they had to say. And look, Baylor deserved to get a lot of flack for what was going on. But at the same time, what those schools, who many of them still pointing the finger, did not acknowledge, or maybe didn't make nearly as public as their point and laugh comments, was they went behind the scenes after seeing that story and scrambled like madmen to make sure that they weren't in the same boat. And then a lot of schools found out, oh my gosh, this could have happened here, and we need to change things. So if anything, it was a big warning that one team or one school, took the brunt of it, or the brunt of the public backlash. But it was, best believe, a major wake-up call for colleges all over the country who suddenly said, oh, boy.
Text messages like, hey,
oh, my gosh.
Are we okay? This isn't
and
us?
I guarantee you Texas and Oklahoma are part of that as well. But anyways, I am just glad that there's excitement. There's teams that actually want to be in the Big 12. And I know I've seen, I guess you could call them college football reporters. I'm not talking about the regular names. I'm just talking about just the random people that you come across on social media that will pick on the new Big 12. It's barely a Power 5 conference, whatever. It's a Power 5 conference. It's a Power 5 conference, and it's going to still have that autonomy, and I think it's going to be competitive. Are they going to have the big dog? No, but guess what? I don't need the blockbuster to go to the movie theater. There might be a movie that's not big budget that I actually like better than the Marvel movie. But if you want the Marvel movie, it's all going to be there in the SEC. But if you want a little bit something different that's not as expensive or as many big booms, then you can still find a really good movie. And I think that's what you're going to find in the Big 12.
From David Smoak, who's a part of the new teams coming in, and Stephen, of course, listens to us all the time, texts me a lot of things as well. Put the past behind, move forward, quit the past negativity, quit the inferiority complex now. And that, I think, is about to happen. I think it already has in some ways. I think the Big 12 proved that. But there are scars that are still there, and sometimes they're not hard to discuss as well. Paul, does the